Imagine walking alone through an ancient forest in coastal Karnataka when suddenly everything becomes silent. The wind stops, the birds disappear, and from far away you hear only one sound the powerful beats of sacred drums. An elder standing beside you whispers, "Do not fear the darkness, fear only a life without truth." For generations, people of Tulunadu have spoken about a mysterious guardian whose name is connected with justice, courage, and the punishment of dishonesty. Guliga Daiva. Who is Guliga Daiva? Why do thousands still gather during Bhuta Kola to remember this powerful tradition? And why does this ancient legend continue to teach people that no action goes unnoticed? Stay with me until the end because the final message of this story is not about fear, it is about truth, humility, and the power of doing what is right. The coastal region of Karnataka, known as Tulunadu, is a land where nature and tradition exist together. The sound of ocean waves mixes with temple bells. Green forests surround ancient villages. And stories passed from grandparents to grandchildren continue to live even today. Among the most unique cultural traditions of Tulunadu is Daiva Aradhyane. Through the sacred ritual of Bhutakola, communities come together to honor guardian spirits known as Daivas. For many devotees, these rituals are not just celebrations, they are moments of faith, remembrance, and connection with their ancestors. Among the many revered Daivas, one name holds a special place, that is Guliga Daiva. Guliga is remembered in tradition as a fearless guardian associated with justice and protection. The legend teaches a simple but powerful lesson. A person may hide the truth from others for some time, but truth always finds its way back. This story is not only about a divine guardian, it is about human nature. It is about greed and kindness, pride and humility, wrongdoing and responsibility. According to traditional folklore, there was once a prosperous village surrounded by beautiful forests and fertile farmland. The people worked hard, farmers woke before sunrise, fishermen faced the waves every day. Workers gave their strength to build a better life. The village survived because people trusted each other. But slowly, one thing began to change. Greed started replacing kindness. Some powerful people began thinking that wealth gave them the right to control others. Among them was a wealthy landlord named Bhairava Shetty. Bhairava owned large fields, countless coconut trees, and huge granaries filled with grain. Everyone knew his name, people respected his success. But behind his wealth was a growing pride. Years earlier, Bhairava had also been a simple farmer. He knew the pain of hard work, he knew the struggles of ordinary families. But after gaining wealth, he forgot the difficulties he once faced. When farmers suffered because of bad harvests, he demanded repayment without mercy. When workers requested fair wages, he ignored them. When poor families asked for help, he believed they were responsible for their own problems. One day, standing proudly before the villagers, Bhairava said, "In this world, only the powerful survive. Money creates respect. Those without wealth must accept their situation." The villagers remained silent, but silence does not always mean agreement. Sometimes silence hides pain. An elderly villager looked at Bhairava and said, "A tree full of fruits bends down. Only an empty tree stands proudly above everyone." But Bhairava laughed. He believed no one could question him. He believed his wealth made him untouchable. He did not know that this biggest test was about to arrive. The next morning, a poor widow would walk into Bhairava's mansion. She had no power, no wealth, no influence, and only a small request. But that request would reveal the true character of the richest man in the village. The next morning, as the golden rays of the sun touched the village, an elderly widow named Lakshmi slowly walked towards Bhairava Shetty's mansion. Her steps were weak, her clothes were simple, but her heart carried the courage of a mother protecting her family. Beside her walked her young grandson. For them, that small piece of land was not just soil, it was their life. It gave them food, it gave them hope, it gave them dignity. But that year, heavy rains destroyed their crops. The harvest failed. The family had no way to repay the money they had borrowed. With a final hope, Lakshmi decided to request more time from Bhairava. Standing before the landlord, she folded her hands. She said, "Master, I have worked honestly all my life. Please give me one more chance. Allow me one more harvest season. I will repay everything." The servant standing nearby looked at Bhairava, hoping he would show kindness. For a moment, silence filled the room, but Bhairava's heart remained unchanged. He looked at Lakshmi and said, "A promise does not repay a debt. The land now belongs to me." He signed the papers. The field that had supported Lakshmi's family for generations was taken away. The old woman looked at the document with tears in her eyes. Her grandson asked innocently, "Grandmother, where will we grow our food now?" Those words touched every person who heard them. But Bhairava walked away. He believed he had won. He believed wealth had defeated weakness. Even today, we see similar situations around us. A person may gain money by cheating others. A businessman may break promises for profit. A powerful person may misuse authority. At first, it may appear that they are successful, but success without honesty does not last forever because money can buy comfort, but it cannot buy genuine respect. Power can create fear, but only kindness creates love. This is the deeper message behind many traditional stories of Kudiga Daiva. The story reminds us your actions create your destiny. That evening, the villagers gathered beneath an ancient banyan tree. The atmosphere was filled with sadness. The oldest elder of the village stood before everyone. He looked at the people and said, "Remember this: a person may escape the eyes of humans, but no one can escape the truth of their own actions." He pointed towards the sacred grove. For generations, our ancestors have respected Guliga Daiva as a reminder that justice must always be protected. Not because people should live in fear, but because people should live with responsibility. The villagers listened quietly. They know one thing. The landlord had won the land, but he had lost something far more valuable: the respect of the people. That night, the village prepared for Bhutakola. The sacred lamps were lit. The traditional drums began to echo through the darkness. The entire atmosphere changed. People gathered with devotion and respect. Bhairava watched from a distance and smiled. He still believed these traditions were meaningless. Stories cannot change reality, he thought. My wealth is my power. But when he finally went to sleep, something unexpected happened. According to the traditional legend, Bhairava found himself standing in a dark forest. The trees were enormous, the air was silent. Suddenly, a deep drum beat echoed. Boom! Another followed. Boom! From the darkness, a powerful presence appeared. A guardian figure stood before him. Bhairava felt a fear he had never experienced before. The voice said, "You counted your wealth, but did you count the tears of those you hurt? You protected your property, but did you protect your humanity?" Bhairava saw images of his own actions: the farmers who lost their land, the workers who suffered Lakshmi's tears. For the first time, he understood the pain he had caused. The greatest punishment was not losing his wealth, it was realizing how far he had moved away from kindness. The voice continued: "A person becomes truly powerful not by controlling others, but by controlling their own pride." The next morning, something unexpected happened. The same man who once walked with arrogance entered the village quietly. People were surprised. Bhairava went directly to Lakshmi's house. He folded his hands and he apologized. He returned her land documents. He said, "This land was never truly mine. I only forgot that I was responsible for another person's life." The villagers watched silently. Slowly, Bhairava began correcting his mistakes. He returned lands that were unfairly taken. He paid workers their rightful wages. He helped the families he had ignored. The village changed, not because Bhairava became powerful, but because he finally became humble. The legend of Gudiga Daiva has continued through generations because it carries a message that remains relevant even today. It teaches us that a person is not remembered only for their wealth, a person is remembered for their character. A successful life is not measured only by what we collect, but by how many lives we improve. Whether one views Gudiga Daiva through faith or as a powerful cultural symbol, the lesson remains meaningful. Truth deserves protection, justice deserves respect, and humility is the greatest strength of all. The story of Guliga Daiva is not only a legend from the past, it is a mirror that asks us an important question today. Are our actions worthy of the respect we seek from others? Is this story touched your heart? Share your thoughts in the comments. If you love discovering the hidden legends, traditions, and inspiring stories of Karnataka, subscribe to 5 a.m. Tales and join us on more journeys into our incredible heritage. Until our next story, chose truth over shortcuts, chose kindness over pride. And remember, a good heart is the greatest wealth a person can possess. Thank you for watching. Jai Guligadaiva. Thank you. Goodbye.